Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable to you, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. Amen. If you are like me, living in Pocatello and attending Trinity for many years, I bet you have the same initial thoughts and memories when listening to the gospel reading from this morning. You think of Rita's annual announcements concerning Pocatello's interfaith effort to fill Idaho's food bank, an event titled Feeding the 5,000. In the biblical story of the feeding of the 5,000, the disciples were concerned that they didn't have enough to feed everyone gathered to hear Jesus' message. And they legitimately didn't have enough. 5 loaves and 2 fish can't feed 5,000 people. Of course, because they were with Jesus, they discovered that they did indeed have enough to feed everyone, with 12 baskets left over after everyone ate. In Jesus, there is abundance. And what is really striking to me about this story is that while Jesus blessed the food, it's his disciples who do the visible work of passing the food. Jesus worked through them, and he works through us. We see this every year with Pocatello's feeding of the 5,000 food drive. Every year, we are reminded how great the need is for that program. Every year, the people of Idaho, working together, provide what is needed. The fact that the Idaho Food Bank can turn your $1 donation into $6 worth of food is proof that Jesus is definitely working within the food bank, multiplying meager beginnings into a feast of abundance. While this story is often interpreted in the context of charity, it also, more generally, asks us how we determine what is enough. What is plenty? What is not enough? What is abundance? This summer, I've been struggling to find enough time. It seems like I keep running out, no matter how much effort I put into getting things done. First, it was moving everything out of the house into the garage. Then, it was painting every wall and baseboard and door frame in the house. Then, oh no, it's 2 o'clock and I forgot to feed the kids and somehow we're out of milk and bread again. Please don't ask how my professional development training for teaching online is going. It's not going yet. While we're at it, don't ask about what my classes look like for next semester either. And I still want to paint every door in the house. Then last week, I realized what a blessing it was to have to write a sermon. It was an excuse to stop and sit with God and my thoughts. It begged the question, why would I ever need an excuse to sit with God and my thoughts? I noticed that after spending time working on my sermon last week, I felt less harried. And everything still got done. How did that happen? In the feeding of the 5,000, Jesus modeled how we face challenges when we're not sure we have enough. 1, invite God's blessing in prayer. 2, ask for help in order to delegate responsibilities. To get my sermon written last week, I first offered up a pretty desperate prayer for help. For me, praying is as much about reckoning my own limitations and orienting my attitude as it is about inviting God's help. Once I prayed, though, I felt sure that God was with me, multiplying my good traits as a preacher and keeping me aware of my bad habits. Then, like Jesus enlisting the help of his disciples, I had to ask my in-laws to watch my kids to get the sermon done. I realized I had been feeling guilty about staying with Art and Elvie during our renovation that has taken 3 weeks longer than expected. Because of that, I was bringing my kids along with me to the house to do kid-inappropriate tasks, which then took many times longer than they needed to because I was distracted. American independence makes it hard to ask for God's help, and even harder to ask for the help of our neighbors. I face a challenge, and my instinct is to take it on my own. Maybe you are the same. Oh, don't worry. I can manage. I can do it. But the reality is that no one person in isolation is ever enough to do the work of God's kingdom on earth. Because that work is about loving your neighbor. You can't do that alone. We can do infinitely more together with God and Christ among us than we can alone. Through Christ, there is always enough. There is plenty. There is an abundance. We just have to find the humility to ask for help. Amen.